Hey you guys, Chef Sarah Bradley here, and today I'm gonna show you how to do some crispy skin salmon.
Oh my, you got that hotter than a summertime in July, time magic, and I got to have it. I got to say it again. Oh my.
Did you eat before you came today? Should've held on.
Salmon, take one.
What'd you say? All right, you guys, so today we're gonna do some crispy skin salmon. You can see that I have it like on just a passing tray on some seafold with the skin side down. I'm really trying to pull all the moisture. You can also see that on this skin side, I've made some small incisions just in like the middle third of the piece of salmon, right in the skin. I haven't gone all the way through to the flesh, just through the skin. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna allow me to flatten the skin out and make sure it all has contact with the pan. So here's what we need to cook this salmon. Salmon, butter, salt, little thyme, little garlic, little oil. I'm just using my standard rice bran oil. Good hot pan. Again, I like these black stills. You've probably seen these in a lot of my other videos. Pan needs to be hot. That's the number one thing. I've got it on about like medium heat. It doesn't need to be smoking hot, which it is smoking right now. So I've got the heat turned down pretty low. I am going to start by seasoning the salmon on all sides. So nice and high. And you can see that I'm really giving it a pretty good coating because we're gonna baste this fish, and when we baste it, we're gonna knock some of the salt off. So it needs a pretty good coating right now. Make sure you season every side. Since we can't get like salt inside the meat, we wanna make sure we season everywhere else. Skin side back down. Oil in our pan. And I've probably got like enough to do like a nice little coating on the bottom. This is how you tell if your pan is hot enough to cook in. If you take your fish and pull it across and it sticks to the pan's not hot enough. So you wanna make sure that when you drag it across the pan, it does not stick. You can also see that I'm tilting it so the oil goes away from me. So when I put that fish in there, the oil doesn't snap back on my fingers. Trusty spoon. Want to push the salmon down. When you put the fish in the pan, it curls up. It goes, because it's hot and things, you know, they contract. They contract or they expand. I don't know. They do something when they get hot. When you put that in there, that skin tightens up and it goes. What we need to do is we need to push it down to make sure we have contact with all that. So you can use your spoon, you can use the back of your finger if you're at home, and you'll feel these little air bubbles underneath there. You want to make sure that those all go away. And we are gonna cook this fish about, I don't know, 70% of the way on one side. So almost what we would call a unilateral sear. And I'm starting to see some nice, like really golden brown. I'm gonna kind of pick it up so you guys can see, like this golden brown along the edge. That's showing me my skin is getting really crispy. I'm getting a really nice sear. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little baste. And when we say baste, we want to just move the oil over it, because I'm usually gonna baste on the fattest piece of the fish, the fattest part of the fish. If I put the oil right out here on the end where it's much thinner, I'm gonna overcook that. So when you use your hot oil right on the top, and I've said many times before, salt is not fat soluble, so salt does not dissolve in fat. So remember how heavily I seasoned the fish in the beginning? I can see a lot of that salt kind of hanging out in the pan. It's not going anywhere. What I want to do is drain a little bit of this fat off. So what I like to do, and if you're doing this at home, is put your stuff right here. Instead of trying to turn your whole pan and dump it, just turn your pan and kind of rock it, and that oil will come right out. And you don't have to worry about everything flipping out. Just kind of give it that, what would that be, physics? I don't know, force, something like that. Get that oil out of there. So the reason that I basted everything before I flip them over is to make sure that when I flip them, again, they don't stick. My pan is not as high of heat as it originally was. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip these guys over. I'm gonna add a little butter to my pan. I'm gonna take a couple garlic cloves, give them a nice smash. If you want really aggressive garlic flavor, or not aggressive, but if you want a stronger garlic flavor, take the skin off. If you want a softer garlic flavor, leave the skin on. And then after you do that, convince your cooking partner to smell their hand and then slap their hand in their face. I always appreciate that one. A little bit of thyme, some English thyme. You can hear that crackling. Can I get in on that? So what I'm gonna do is I wanna wait for most of this foaming to go away. You know, butter is not all fat. It's got a lot of milk solids and milk and water in it. So I need all the water to cook off. Water and crispy, they don't mix. So I want the water to cook out before I baste the back of my fish. All that moisture is cooked out of the butter. We've got just the fat left, and we've got this really nice brown butter. So I've actually turned the heat off on my pan because these pans retain a lot of heat, and I'm gonna use my trusty paper clip, and I'm gonna go and feel. I don't want a lot of pressure. I stick this in and I can feel it fighting against, you know, you have all those different pieces of flesh. If you can feel it fighting against each little layer of flesh, your fish is not cooked. The other good way to do it, stick that in there. And it's warm, but it's not hot. So I think we can give it just a tad more cook. So I'm gonna do that by using this hot butter and basting out. And it's still, the skin is still really crispy because I let all of the liquid cook out of there, all of the moisture cook out of the butter and the garlic and the thyme and stuff before I started basting. It's about where I like it. I usually like to serve my salmon about 125. I like a little bit of it undercooked. Texture, I think salmon doesn't need to be hammered. It's a personal preference. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit of salt right on the top because I know that I've basted almost all of that off of there. And I'll just show you guys what the underneath side looks like so you can see. Ouch, it's really hot. So the underneath side has like a little bit of color on it, a little bit of that golden brown, but not a ton. Let's give it a little poker. It's like the perfect temperature. It's like, it's not so hot that when I touch it on my lip, it's like burning me. It's warmer than my body temperature though, so I know it's over 98 degrees. Great band from the late 90s in case you're wondering. Actually, I don't know. Of all the boy bands, they probably were my least. Sorry, Nick Lachey, but. All right, so I wanna show you guys, I'm just gonna go in here with my hands. I mean, I'll try to be classy, but I'm gonna probably use my hands. So I wanna show you guys this skin. So you get that? Mic check. See how it almost breaks off? Like a little piece. You can see on the inside, it's not totally cooked. It's still like nice and delicate. When it's cooked all the way through, I think you just lose some of that really, that piece of skin. It's so good. And I should tell you that the scales have been removed from this salmon. But if you get something like trout or something like that, you don't need to take the scales off. It's really yummy. I'm gonna cut it right in half so you guys can see. I don't know why I'm getting a sharp knife out. It would just, we've got this really pretty, like it almost has like an opaqueness on the outside and a, it's so good. That's it. Don't be scared of fish. You can use this technique. If you don't like the skin, you can take the skin off and cook it the exact same way, and you'll end up with like that really caramelized part like this. It's really yummy. See y'all soon. Bye. You know, normally when I'm pregnant, I don't like fish, but it's really good. Because I would literally just eat the skin. It's equivalent to like fried chicken. Like I'm that that picks all the skin off the fried chicken thighs. That's how I feel about salmon skin.